Howdy, and welcome back into this week's episode of the Back of the End Zone podcast. I'm Josh Reisick, joined by Bryant Koleski. And man, what a week of football between the NFL, between college football, between the transfer portal, and everything in between there. And this week, we're going to get into all of it, some of those 2025 college football playoff semifinal games. Then obviously, we've got some craziness from NFL wildcard weekend, and then into that transfer portal juju. And man, it has been a crazy week as a fan of the Bears, obviously, and we're gonna get into that. Don't you worry. But even on the college football playoff side of things, like man, there was some classic games this week, man.
Yeah, and it's been a crazy week in general. I mean, my Friday was pretty crazy from a work standpoint. We had an old lady try to donate some grenades to Goodwill, and yeah, that was crazy. I mean, it's been a crazy week. But man, college football, NFL, keeping on rolling. Like you mentioned, the wild card, the CFP semifinals. But I'm more interested to get into the transfer portal, and we will towards the end of this segment. But because the transfer portal, it's in a dead period right now, but it is just whack. It is what's going on out there between schools. Some schools, it's crazy. I'm not
And it's
gonna
the
lie.
only way. It's chaos. It's the only way to describe it, and that's kind of the only thing to expect nowadays with NIL. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. I was very upset today about one of the one transfer portal commitment, some guy who left from Ohio State. I'll get into that a little later. But Bryant, I want to start off by talking about the instant classic that we saw between Miami and Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. Miami obviously taking that one 31-27. And this wasn't just two teams playing each other. This was fireworks until the very end. It was not the type of game that I expected. I don't know if many people were expecting it to be like this. I thought Miami's defense would have held their own a little bit better. They forced no turnovers
You
throughout
pick
the whole
you
game.
picked Ole Miss though.
Yeah, I did pick Ole Miss, and I wanted to pick Miami, and then the last second I picked Ole Miss. But
I will
big,
say, like from the way this game went, like for especially in the second half, it was more offensive driven, and I felt like if that's the type of game Ole Miss could have gotten, and they did get, I felt like Ole Miss had the advantage because Miami and some spots hasn't been able to step up offensively, but I was wrong, and their defense came up big when it needed to.
the
Obviously, Ole Miss's offense is really good, but when Miami's defense needed the plays, they got them.
Yeah, and the big thing for me, my biggest takeaway from this Miami team was their mental toughness. That showed up in this game. They had 9 penalties for 67 yards. They blew multiple leads, had big time drops. There was that big catch from Malachi Tony that was out of bounds. That was an insane catch, I will say. But
I still
yeah,
think it was
like
inbounds,
yeah,
but
no, his heel was out. But the big thing was that mental toughness aspect, and obviously the biggest key of this game was Miami's 15-play, 75-yard drive capped off by Carson Beck's 3-yard touchdown run. And that was phenomenal. I think this game alone and the final 2 or 3 drives from Carson Beck in this game boosted his draft stock immensely. This guy wasn't even projected. He was probably what, like a 4th, 5th round, if he even was in those conversations. And now I think he could potentially be a second, first round quarterback pick with the way that he played in this game. And the big thing with him too is it's that experience. He's been through moments like this time and time again. He's what, 23, 24 years old. He's old. He's old. And you see that from Bo Nix in the NFL. A lot of people crapped on the Broncos taking him so early, but he's got that experience. He's got that poise. He's played situational football in his life before, and Carson Beck showed that at the end of this game.
some of these older quarterbacks, some of them, and you look at you right now, you look at it with the Saints and Tyler Shuck. I mean, a lot of people gave the Saints um, grief for taking Tyler Shuck. I mean, he's older than Bo Nix is, I believe, and some of these older quarterbacks, they are benefiting from the mass amount of starts they've had in college. And Carson Beck, this is when Carson Beck is at his best, he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think with Carson Beck is you don't know which one you're getting week to week. He could throw multiple interceptions one game, and then he can light it up like he did like he didn't light it up against Ohio State, but he played well enough. And or you could have the Carson Beck we saw against Ole Miss. I mean, it's a really for him, it's a consistency thing. But when he's at his best, he's one of the best in college football.
Yeah, and I mean, he cooked, and another person that cooked on that Miami offense, Mark Fletcher, man. He rushed for 133 yards. Obviously, Carson Beck cooked, which he kind of stole. I wouldn't say he stole away the spotlight from Mark Fletcher, but Mark Fletcher was just pounding it on the ground, dude, and he really proved his own too for his own draft stock. But another thing too, though, was Ole Miss could not convert on third downs. That was the biggest takeaway all game. That we knew this Miami defense was legit going into it, but that was the killer down the stretch is they just couldn't convert on third downs.
But Ole Miss did also. I mean, they still put up 27 points against a very lethal Miami defense. Um, they had their chances, and I think they had their chances towards the end to win the game as well. I mean, they got down to the 30-yard line and
Yeah.
had a chance to take a few shots. I think there was definitely some ways for them to win it, but
And there was that PI that was a no call, but
I
well,
I don't believe in calling it in that moment just
I
because
agree. I'm with
I
you,
don't I
but
don't like the refs deciding a play that late in the game. I get that you may people may argue, well, if it's a flag, it should be called. I'm like, well, all these flags for the most part are kind of subjective. I mean, anyway. So, but we were speaking of Carson Beck, and him improving his draft stock. Win or lose, Trinidad Chambliss has, if he's not able to come back, and I know he's since been denied a 6 year of eligibility. Damn, I can't say that. but they're filing a lawsuit against the NCAA. We're gonna see what happens with that. But if he doesn't get to come back for another year, I will be interested to see where he falls because I think he is really talented. I think his size is a little bit of a concern, but I think he's one of those guys. Talk about um, age and uh, big. I mean, yeah, he played in Division two, but he played in some of the biggest moments in Division two. He won a national championship there. He played for Ferris State, one of the best Division two programs there is. He's got a lot of starts and a lot of experience under his belt. So it'd be interesting to see where he falls if he's not able to come back, which I
yeah.
think a lot of people would like to see him come back. I would like to see him come back if the NCAA allows it. But yeah, Trinidad Chambliss benefited a lot too from this, not only this game, but the playoff as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And into that other game, I'm just going to call it the other game because this Indiana Hoosiers team has been on a historic run. Now with the chance to go
We
16
talk
and
about age.
yeah,
Indiana's got
yeah,
they
but
got that
yeah,
above everybody.
they do. But obviously they had their 56-22 win over Oregon in the Peach Bowl, and this game was full throttle from Indiana from start to finish.
It
Talk
got out
about
of hand
the
quickly.
first. Yeah, the first offensive play of the game for Oregon. Talk about a pick six for Indiana to start things off. That like obviously I know people were expecting Indiana to win this game, as we all were, but I
We both
expected
picked Indiana.
I
Yeah,
expected a little bit more grit from Oregon, and that pick six right from the jump kind of just took all the life out of them. And then the Indiana offense on 5 of their first 6 drives they scored. Like they've done what they've done all year long and proven time and time again why they are the legit number one right now. And I mean, we'll get into our picks later, but this team
yeah.
is so gritty and they're so
Well,
poised. Like, I don't know if anyone can stop them.
and not only that, but they're fundamentally sound. They do everything, uh, all three phases of the game. They are efficient. I've just never seen a team play this well on all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. The mental toughness, the mental aspect of it, the fundamental aspect. I don't think I've seen a team at least for a while. Maybe some of those early Saban teams, maybe early Kirby at Georgia. I don't know, but man, the level of efficiency that they operate with is insane. And I want to go a little bit of rant. Nothing to take away from what Indiana's done. But I don't see the same kind of discourse for Dan Lanning as people were having about Kalen DeBoer when Indiana whooped Alabama's ass.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Kirk Herbstreit on the Rose Bowl broadcast, and I love Kirk Herbstreit. He's one of my favorite color commentators out there. One of my favorite media personalities. We've all grown up with Kirk Herbstreit, watching him on game day and calling games. I love Kirk Herbstreit, but I think this is where criticism is needed. That whole second half of the Rose Bowl, and I've listened to it because I still watch the game and still wanted to watch Alabama because they're my team. Um, but that whole second half, he was dogging Alabama, saying, "Oh, they're being physically drugged through the ground. They're, the script A is losing some of its luster. It's not the Alabama we're used to. All this stuff, and then you see other national media members jump in on Alabama and Kalen DeBoer and all this other discourse. But when it happens to Oregon and Dan Lanning, I didn't hear Sean McDonough or Greg McElroy drag Oregon the way Alabama was. And this may be a little bit of bias coming from me from an Alabama fan, but players and recruits listen to this as well. Kirk Herbstreit is one of the more influential voices of the game. He
Yeah.
really is. And so and some of these other national media members are too, like Joel Klatt, um, uh, whoever it may be. So when people where's the outrage? Where's the criticism for Dan Lanning?
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
with
don't
you.
know. That's just me ranting. I don't know. I haven't seen the criticism for Dan Lanning. This is 2 years in a row. He's been blown out in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So
I agree. But one thing I will say, this Indiana team is different. And
oh yeah,
they've
for
got they've got
sure.
they've got the Heisman. And I'm telling you, in these last two playoff games, his first two playoff games, he's played like the Heisman. Fernando
Oh, for
Mendoza
sure. No, like I said,
listen to this. On 36 pass attempts in two games, he's thrown for 8 touchdowns
oh,
in
I know.
36
Yeah.
pass attempts. And like that's surgical. He has been playing like the Heisman. I mean, obviously he won it for a reason, but he has been unstoppable. And then besides that, you've got Kalen Black and Roman Hemby, who both now have over 1,000 rushing yards on the season. They both
Oh
hit
yeah.
that century mark. And I'm like, both of those guys are it's very similar. I don't want to compare this to Ohio State, but it's very similar to the dual threat that Ohio State had in Quinshon Judkins and
Oh yeah.
Travion Henderson. And when you have the dual threat like that in the run game, it's hard to stop that. Like,
Oh, for sure. And people talk about the the lack of 4 and 5 stars that Indiana has. Look, when you have a team as old as Indiana combined, stars don't matter because those guys have been in college for 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years. Some of them were COVID year products. Like there's a receiver who transferred from Clemson. He played with Trevor Lawrence, and that's been what 5 years ago now. So I don't think the stars matter when they get to that age and that level of experience because they've seen so much. Now, do I think what they're doing is wrong as far as age goes? No, I think they're benefiting from the the maybe the COVID year and maybe the NCAA the last few years has been very lax on extra years of eligibility, and they've been able to take advantage of that and then
yeah,
put a half of a roster of those guys on the team, and they benefited from it. They're exploiting what the NCAA is allowing,
yeah,
and they're winning because of it. It's the same
yeah,
thing with NIL and what Ohio State did last year with a $20 million roster.
yeah. I mean, it's only going to
NCAA is
continue to
allowing
increase.
that.
It's only going to continue to increase.
Exactly. So I mean, don't criticize these teams for exploiting what the NCAA is allowing.
Yeah.
The only
No,
way it can be fixed is to fix college football, and that's a whole other conversation right now.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. But we can continue that rant for another time
Oh, I know. It's
because
just fun.
now into a wild NFL wild card weekend recap. I'm just going to stay brief with this. Started off with the Rams and 49ers. That was a great way to start everything off. And who would have
You talking
thought
about
that
the Rams and
the
Panthers?
Rams and Panthers. I don't know why I said Rams and 49ers. Rams and Panthers. Rams won 34-31. on the road
That was such a great game,
playing
dude.
the NFC South Division champs. And I mean, Matthew Stafford started off really hot. He was like, what, 8 for 8? And then after that, he ended up being below 50%. They were talking about it throughout the game. They're like, what's going on? He's starting to cool off. And then obviously, Matthew Stafford showed why he's Matthew Stafford and capped off the game with
And I
that
think they
scoring
said
drive.
like he sprained like one of his fingers in his throwing
Yep,
hand.
they did say that. They said he sprained his index finger in his throwing hand. Sean McVay did say today, as of Monday, that he's all good to play against the
Yeah.
Bears. That cold weather is going to be a factor for him, though. I'll tell you that much right now. But Bryce Young nearly pulled off that upset with the Panthers, but
Dude,
man,
I can't. I
they
couldn't
couldn't get
be.
close enough.
There's one like if there's one player in the entire NFL that I couldn't be happier for, other than the Broncos players that I support and are a fan of. It's Bryce Young, man. I mean, a year and a half ago, this guy was benched, and everybody thought his career was done. Worst number one overall pick of all time, bust. And here he comes. He puts his head down. He goes to work. The Panthers finally starting to build around him. Get him Tetero McMillan, Rico Dowdle, and you see it coming together, and you see why Bryce Young was the number one pick 2 years ago.
Exactly. And speaking of number one picks, how about another number one pick? Into the next game, Bears versus Packers
I knew
at
you were going with
Soldier
that.
Field. Bears win 31-27, and the Bears' biggest and greatest comeback in playoff history for the Bears. Bears' first playoff win since 2010. That's crazy. In 2010, they lost to the Packers in the NFC championship game where the Packers went on to win it with A-Rod. Their first playoff win comes from they were trailing 28-3 at half. I'm going to tell you right now, I still had faith. There was very minor faith in me, but I still had faith. I had family over. We're all sitting there watching the game, and we were just silent. But me and my dad kept saying to each other, we're like, Caleb can put us back in this game. Caleb can put us back in this game. The big thing in the first half was Dennis Allen's defense did nothing. They did nothing to stop the Packers. The Bears scored on their first drive. The Packers scored damn near every drive after that. The Bears could not shut them down. Second half comes around. Defense locked in without Tremaine Edwards, without CJ Gardner-Johnson, without a couple guys. They locked in. And like, all I got to say is right now, you can't tell me. I know Bo Nix has had some great comebacks. You can't tell me there's a more clutch quarterback in the league right now when it comes down to fourth quarter comebacks. That's his 7th of the season. Talk to me about that 4th and 8th throw to Roma Dunze with the game on the line. If you don't convert there, game is over. Threw it like Michael Jordan, about to get sacked. And all I got to say is, as a Bears fan, this was exhilarating. And I'm so happy to see Packers fans cry now.
Well, I would leave that up for debate on who's the better fourth quarter or second year quarterback right now, Bo Nix or Caleb Williams. I mean, they're both great. They
More
both do
people will
different.
say Caleb.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Bo just because Bo's been doing it all season. It seems like Caleb kind of turned it on later in the season,
Not
but
true.
still, but not to take anything away from what Caleb's doing. Um, this is what happens when you get the right coach for the quarterback and for the offense. This is what happens when you start building around a quarterback. Um, do they fire Matt LaFleur? It hadn't happened yet, but I mean,
It's not going to happen.
you come. I mean, it's almost like John Harbaugh in a sense, where you make the playoffs damn near every year, but you don't perform when it matters. Like you don't like because even when they had Aaron Rodgers in the before he moved on, is they were making the playoffs, but they weren't capitalizing on
Yeah,
it.
and 3 times over the last 5 years, the
Yeah,
Packers have been that 7th seed, and you think, no, it's happened 3 times since they switched and added a 7th seed. The Packers have been that 7th seed. You think if they didn't have that extra seed, they wouldn't be there,
yeah.
which kind of puts it all in the hindsight. But the Matt LaFleur talk, I personally, as a Bears fan, don't think they should fire him. That was a bad game, but I don't. I think he's a great coach. If they fired him,
And
I
and
would
the
be
thing
happy.
is if you fire him, I mean,
Who
who
else
are
are
you
you gonna
gonna
get?
who are
Who are
you
you
gonna
gonna get
get?
that's better?
Because
Yeah,
the other teams that have fired coaches already are already in their deep in their coaching searches, and if you fire Matt LaFleur and you went after uh, John Harbaugh, I mean,
what difference is it going to make
yes,
from Matt LaFleur, bless you. But like
Yeah,
seriously, it's not much of a difference. Like
yeah.
you're
And
not.
so I mean, really, who are you gonna get? I mean, Belichick's past his prime, Carroll's past his prime. I mean, I mean, Sean Payton moving from Denver. I mean, I don't know. It's just who are you gonna get? You know, and like you said, LaFleur's still a great coach. He just hasn't been able to put it all together yet.
Exactly. Exactly. Now into our next game. First game of Sunday's slate of wild card games. Bills versus Jaguars. Bills win 27-24. Not the two biggest things. The biggest thing for me was Trevor Lawrence. He had those two crucial interceptions, the one late that sealed the game for Buffalo. And all I've got to say is that Josh Allen, man, his heroics in the flesh, just his dual threat ability, man. That's what won them the game, bro. He made some crazy runs on third downs to get them where they needed to be to win that game. And their first road playoff win in 33 years for Buffalo.
Yeah,
And Josh Allen is scary when he's in the playoffs. That's all I've got to say. They won because of Josh Allen. Obviously, I know they're not going to have Gabe Davis coming up in this divisional round game against the Broncos, but man, he's gritty.
I think two things that stood out to me was yes, Josh Allen is still great in the playoffs, but man, he took a lot of hits in that game. You got to wonder, and I'll get to this later when we preview this one. You got to wonder with only the NFL kind of screwed the Bills over by only giving them what 5 days to prepare because they play on a Saturday, and it's the Broncos have had what 14 days,
Yeah.
a week, 2 weeks to prepare. So I mean, I don't know, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, I just the Jags had such a great year, and for them to only be a first round exit, I mean, they kind of feel like the Broncos last year, where they had a great year, they got some impressive wins, and then when they get in the playoffs, first year coach, even though Trevor Lawrence is not as young as a quarterback, I mean, it just felt like the Broncos last year. I don't know. I mean, it's you
Yeah.
gotta be disappointed for Jags fans. But like I said last week, I mean, without Mahomes or Lamar in the playoffs, this should be Josh Allen's thing to lose.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. We'll see, man. And in the next game, 49ers in Philadelphia facing the defending champs. And man, that Eagles championship hangover hit hard. They looked, I mean, talk about everything that happened with AJ Brown and everything else. That was wild. And I mean, I don't think he caught a ball after that happened. I don't think he caught a ball the single second half. And the 49ers just, it's Christian McCaffrey's show breaking the backs of Philly. He proved time and time. Obviously, Brock Purdy had some mistakes. Kittle got hurt, but the 49ers being a plus 5.5 underdog during this game, I thought that was a stretch. I think from the start, everybody knew that the whole entire NFC West, aside from the Cardinals, was legit. And they proved it here, obviously winning in Philly against the Super Bowl champs. And yeah, this team's good.
Yeah, that's been a weird year for the Eagles because they started off really hot. You felt like you know they had a chance to make it back to the Super Bowl, and then they lose to Denver early, come back, and then off the comeback, and then the offense starts to sputter. All this talk about Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and all the talk about him possibly getting traded before the trade deadline. Uh, it's been a weird year for the Eagles, and it was just on display again against the 49ers. It's like I don't know if they need to change offensive coordinators. I don't know what they need to do, but they still have a very talented team. I mean, it's one of the more talented teams in the league. They just got to figure something out.
Yeah, no, they do. And we'll see what happens. And yeah, but into our last game, the Sunday night game. We're gonna skip over the Monday night game between the Texans and Steelers because while we're recording this, it is Monday night. The game actually just started, so we'll skip through that. But the Patriots and Chargers. This game was a lot more grit over glamour. Big game for Drake May coming in. A lot of people questioned if he could beat a team over 500, and I mean, he put up over 330 total yards. The Pats completely controlled the time of possession. And Herbert couldn't do anything against this Pats defense, man. He was sacked 6 times. The Los Angeles offense had 207 total yards. The Patriots looked legit. They argued all year long why they could be that 1 seed. Obviously, the Broncos got it, but they're a legit title contender right now with the way that they're
Yeah,
playing.
yeah. I was a little bit wrong about the Patriots. I don't know. I mean, Justin Herbert is what this generation's of Dan Marino. He just can't. He can't get it. Well, that may be Josh Allen if he can't get it done this year. Maybe both of them. But Justin Herbert just he can't. When those big games, it's like the Chargers, and it's not all Justin Herbert's fault, but Chargers just cannot get it done when they're in the spotlight. And it's tough. It's a tough look. I mean, Herbert is in what year 5, 6, 7? Who knows at this point? And he still doesn't have a playoff win. Everybody thought, after his rookie year, he was the next Tom Brady and next Patrick Mahomes and whatever the case may be. I mean, I remember all the talk about Justin Herbert, and he still doesn't have a playoff win. Um, he still hadn't won the division, in a year where, but I don't know. But now going to the Patriots, man, Drake May's legit. If it weren't for Stafford, I feel like he'd win the MVP. But yeah, man,
Yeah, I mean,
Patriot, Broncos Patriots AFC Championship game. The last time that happened, 2015. So
yeah,
maybe.
it could happen. It could happen. I'm ready to get into our pick'em segment, but before we do that, talk to me about the college football transfer portal right now. What a crazy week and a half it's been, or I guess it's just been a week. There's only a few days left of the portal still open. Talk to me about Texas, man. They got some weapons for Arch Manning, adding Cam Coleman. You thought he was going to Bama, and then they added Hollywood Smothers at running back. Like Arch Manning and Sark, man, they're really going all in. I feel like we didn't see them dabble much into the portal last year, and now they're doing it, and obviously a lot of other teams are too. I really like Texas's portal acquisitions, and then Dylan Raiola. Hold up, who would have thought Raiola was going to Oregon? That's all I got to say. I'm surprised.
It was like as soon as he entered the portal, the Oregon was one of the destinations you felt like would be depending on what Dante Moore does. I mean, he may pull a Dante Moore and go sit behind Dante Moore for another year and then reemerge. And I don't know. I mean,
I don't think that's like Rayola. I don't think Rayola would have gone if. But granted, you could say the same thing. I'm going back to Ohio State last year at Ohio State when Quinshon Judkins transferred to Ohio State. Everybody was like, "Oh, that means Travion Henderson's hitting the draft," and he didn't. So I mean, obviously that's running back, which is way different because you can't really run a quarterback room with 2 quarterbacks playing offense. You can, but it's
I
not
mean,
going to be that successful.
it's been done before,
Yeah,
but
but
not. I mean,
not successfully. But yeah, it's been interesting, dude. And then obviously you've got some other guys like Chaz Coleman going to Tennessee. I really thought he was going to head to Ohio State. That hurt. And then the big thing that hurt me today, as of Monday in this transfer portal, was Quincy Porter committing to Notre Dame, dude. He could have gone, and like between Notre Dame and Michigan, those are the 2 teams I wouldn't have ever wanted him to go to. And he could have gone anywhere else, but he chose Notre Dame, former 5-star receiver, number 2 receiver of his class in 2024. I'm pretty, or 2025, I guess. I'm pretty pissed off about it. That's all I got to
I
say.
mean, it could have been worse. He could have gone to Michigan. I mean, I know Auburn fans are relieved that Cam Coleman is not a Crimson Tide right now. That one was it didn't hurt because it's like, well, yes, getting Cam Coleman just gives your offense that much more firepower. I mean, I think Bama's fine at receiver where they are. They just added a guy from NC State, a former 5-star, Noah Rogers, that is really good. So I think they're fine at receiver, but and that especially after I've heard what he's getting. I mean, you can use that money elsewhere. But we're about to get another offseason, the second offseason in a row where that's going to be Texas. They're the preseason favorite. Arch Manning's the preseason Heisman. You're going to get a lot of that talk, man. And I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. No,
I,
we'll
I'm
see.
not I'm not going to sit here and go in all in on Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
But
Hey,
on paper, yes. But we have yet to see them get it done.
hey,
Uh,
how about I was gonna say, how about Florida though? I like Summerall picking up Eric Singleton. He made a big splash getting that pickup
yeah,
in
I
the
just don't know
portal.
who their quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, and DJ Lagway committing to Baylor, man. That's another he's gonna try and
Uh,
revive his career in the Big 12.
yeah, one saga that's becoming fascinating is Sam Levitt. Um, of course, he committed to LSU today, but on Monday. But there's talks that Tennessee could still be very much in the mix. He could flip to Tennessee. Following Sam Levitt has been because when he entered, and then he entered before LSU took the or Lane Kiffin took the LSU job, and then Lane Kiffin took the LSU job, and everybody assumed, you know, Sam Levitt going to LSU with Lane Kiffin, and it seems like that may be the case right now. But he's been flirting with other schools too. He's been flirting with Kentucky. He was flirting with Miami, uh, Tennessee. He's not. Yes, right now he's committed, but he's not signed. Um, he's been looking at other schools, and then another thing that's got me is even though Ty Simpson is currently declared for the draft, there's still programs trying to get him to come out of the portal and transfer. Uh, there was reports of one program, and I think it was Miami. This is just what I think. I think it was Miami offered him $6.5 million to come play for them, and
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just like, dude, like,
it's
I
crazy
would,
too. It's crazy too with LSU because they also got that Elon transfer. Not that he was anything crazy. Obviously, now he's going to the Power
yeah,
Five.
but
But
I feel like that's Lane
yeah, I would agree.
like getting a guy that he can develop while he's got Sam Levitt for 1 year. Um, I don't I don't think that, but Lane has been looking at several different quarterbacks. I mean, he looked at he tried to get Damon Williams. Obviously, when the Damon Williams saga went on over the course of late last week. If he stayed in the transfer portal, it was rumored that LSU was a destination, and then he looked at uh, he looked at DJ Lagway. I think he looked at Deuce Knight from Auburn. He looked at several different quarterbacks, and so far he's gotten two of them. That was the one from Elon, and he's got Sam Levitt. So, man, transfer portal it's the wild wild west out here. And one thing I want to preface is even though the portal closes on Thursday, that just means uh, nobody else can enter. But but guys that are already in the portal can still take visits. They can take their time with committing and signing, even though that's probably not the best thing with classes now starting. But I think with this one portal window, and while it's great and it's only 15 days, and once you're signed and the portal closes, um, you can't go anywhere else for the rest of the year until next year. I think it's just created much more craziness because all these kids are trying to make a decision, make it quickly, trying to see what their
Yeah,
value
it's
is.
not open long enough. That's one
I,
of
I
the
don't
big
think I
things.
don't think I don't think longevity is the thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
It's just I don't know. It pushes it with the
I think
it's
I
just
think there should just be limits as far as how much you can transfer, maybe who you
I'm
can
with you
transfer to, maybe
because
like not.
everybody's hopping around. Nobody wants to stay and actually make a name for themselves at
I
the
mean,
school
you
that they
got
initially
guys
commit to.
going from, I mean, you see the graphics. I mean, TJ Finley is one of them where
Yeah,
he's got six different teams in like four
I
years, dude.
I
And
remember
it's,
when you used to have to request eligibility to like you would have to request the NCAA to not sit out for a year after transferring.
but
Justin
you, but
Fields
you,
had
but
to
you
do it
see,
at Ohio State, and it's
but you
like,
see the graphics where it's got like four different teams or past teams once a kid is committed to one team and it's or is committed to a new team, and it's just like, dude, like, and
yeah,
And one thing I will, and we can get our pigment segment, our pick'em segment after
pick
this.
me.
Stop. We can get them into our pick'em segment after this rant, this little rant I got going. I've seen rumors of this. I don't know how much of this is true. I don't know if the NFL is even looking at this at all. But I have seen the discourse of where the college football product, like it is, with the NIL, the transfer portal, the hindering of development of players, is hurting them once they get to the NFL. And as a whole, it's hindering and hurting the product that the NFL is. I
Yeah.
wonder, and I've seen the discourse about this. I've seen some chatter, some discussions go on just on social media. Like I said, this is not something. I don't know how much of this is taking place, but I wonder if maybe if the NCAA can't get its act together, if the college football playoff committee, whoever's in charge of these decisions in college football, can't start getting it together and making it somewhat manageable for the players and stuff like this. If the NFL would step in because eventually it may be already it's hurting their product too.
Yeah, it is.
So
It
you
is.
you got to wonder at what point does the NFL step in because like I said, I've seen the chatter of the way college football is trickling up to the NFL as far as development and the way players are performing and lack of mental toughness, lack of accountability, lack of um, adversity that these players have gone through. Just something to kind of keep an eye on is what
Yep.
is in the future. What happens because I mean we see it unfolding before our eyes.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Um, it's just chaos. And one thing that is also going to be chaos. I want to get into our pick'em segment, and it is time, baby. And I don't even care. We're starting off with the 2026 college football playoff national championship
Okay, okay,
game between Indiana and Miami, live on January 19th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Miami, at
yeah,
Miami's home stadium, at the Miami Dolphins home stadium. Indiana's favored by 7.5 points. Miami's 7.5 point underdogs in their home stadium. And all I have to say about this, I mean, it's clear why Indiana's the favorite. I mean,
yeah.
nobody would have Miami winning this, but this game has just so much craziness involved in it. And the big thing for me that I will respect Miami for, obviously their defense is insane, but they had to overcome their own adversity to even get to this point. They didn't win the ACC title. That was Duke, 7-5 Duke, surprisingly. And you look at what they're doing now to host a college football playoff national championship game on their home turf. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Um, but the big thing for me in this game, obviously, both defenses are insane. Miami leads the nation in sacks with 47. Indiana's right behind them at number 2 with 45. And both these teams rank nationally, top 6, both of them, in time of possession, which is going to be an interesting factor of the game to see how both of them fare that way. But needless to say, I don't care. I'm picking Indiana, taking the Big Ten team to win for the third straight year. I think it's hard to go like this. Miami defense is good, but I think it's just hard to bet against Miami, dude. Like this team has been so good. They might
You
finish.
mean bet against Indiana?
That's what I meant. It's hard to bet against Indiana. Sorry, I don't. I'm splurring my words. Sorry, I just got off work, Bryant. You were off today. Give me some slack. Right? But yeah, it's hard to bet against Miami. This team has just been they've controlled the game in all aspects all year long. And I don't I don't know. I honestly don't think this game's close with the way that they're on their run right now. I think Miami or not Miami. I think Indiana covers that 7.5 spread, dude. I really think they do, and I'm taking Indiana.
By the way, since that first slurring of words, you've mistaken Indiana for Miami or Miami for Indiana twice since then. So that's three times, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I'm
No,
out of it. All right, I'm
you're
tired. I had a
good.
lot. I was up at 5 in the morning today. All right, and it is now almost 8 o'clock. So give me some.
Oh,
It's almost my bedtime, Brian. So
well, anyway, I'm just interested to see how Miami can make Fernando Mendoza uncomfortable for 4 quarters. Alabama tried in the first. Tried. They got to him a little bit in the first quarter, and then he cooled down. Oregon wasn't able to do it at all. It was smooth sailing all game. I I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm picking Miami. The U is back. I just want to go against you in the Big Ten. I don't want the Big Ten to win its third straight title, but it would not. I mean, obviously, if Indiana won it and then they won it in a blowout, it still wouldn't. It still wouldn't shock me. I mean, and with Indiana, if they win, I mean, and we've seen this be talked about all over social media, all over sports, since they've gotten into this thing and since they've been the team this year. But this will be one of the greatest stories in sports history. I mean, they are literally the second losing this program in college football history, and here they are completing one of the greatest turnarounds, having one of the greatest seasons. If they win, they'd be 16-0, which has never been done before in college football. They had won
Yeah.
the they will have gone undefeated, won the conference title, won the Heisman, won the national championship. I mean, their story is really good. But Miami's story this year is I don't want to say it's as good as Indiana's, but Miami, early in the season, they beat A&M. They beat Notre Dame and they beat Florida, and they're
They
on a
beat it, or
roll.
yeah, they lost A&M. That's
Everybody's on the Miami train, but then they lose to Louisville and SMU, and they fall all the way down to to 18. Everybody's counting them out. They don't get back into the top 12 until after championship weekend on the final selection Sunday. A lot of people were saying they didn't belong. They were in a weak conference, that they didn't even win their own conference. Uh, but here they are, the 10th seed in the college football playoff, making it all the way to the national championship. So both of these stories are fascinating and great in their own respects. And whoever wins, America wins, because this
Yeah.
national championship game is unique. And one program that's never gotten there, another program that
Another.
hasn't been there in a while, and has been lost the last 2 decades. This is a national championship that we have not seen, at
Yeah.
least for a long time. So
Yeah.
I'm going with Miami. You're going with Indiana. It's going to be a great game. I cannot wait. It's going
I'm
to be great.
shocked. I'm shocked. All right. All right. All right. Now into some playoff picks. I mean, different playoff picks, but divisional
Divisional.
round. Forgive me, Brian. I'm out of it. All right. Now, some divisional round playoff picks, but we're going to start things off with this Patriots game that'll be on Sunday. Obviously, we don't know who they're playing yet. It'll be the Texans or Steelers. I'm looking right now. The score's still 0-0. I think the Texans end up winning it. We'll see what ends up happening. I don't want to jump too ahead of myself. If it is Texans versus Patriots, man, this is going to be a defensive battle. That's all I got to say. Um, Regardless, I'm picking the Patriots. I think this Patriots team has proved time and time again, and they just proved it in the first round in the wild card against. Why am I blanking right now? The Patriots against the Chargers held them to 3 points. Held Justin Herbert all game long. I don't care who they play. I think that New England's going to win, and their defense is going to come out big and completely demolish whoever they're playing between the Texans and Steelers. And I'm picking the Pats.
All right. So if the Texans win this current game that we're watching between the Steelers and Texans, I'm going with the Texans. If the Steelers win, I'm going with the Patriots. I just think the Texans defense is better, and I think C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and all them, they can work against this Patriots defense better than Justin Herbert could, and what he has around him. I like the Texans defense a lot, especially with Will Anderson Jr. If it weren't for Myles Garrett, he'd be the defensive player of the year. I feel like. Um, yeah, man, I'm gonna go. If like I said, if it's the Texans that they're playing, I'm picking the Texans. If it's the Steelers, I'm picking the Patriots. So yeah.
All right. All right. Into our next game, an NFC West clash between the 49ers and Seahawks. Obviously, week one, the 49ers beat the Seahawks in Seattle. Then week 18, Seattle beat the 49ers in San Francisco. The big thing for me this game is the Seahawks have had plenty of time to rest. And the 49ers are going into this game without George Kittle, man. That's a big, big piece. They still don't have Fred Warner. They still don't have Nick Bosa. There's no way they're going to be back for this game. And I just think that the Seahawks at home, they've got the edge over the Niners. They have too many weaknesses going into this game. I know Kyle Shanahan is ready in the playoffs. I know Brock Purdy's been in this situation before. It's going to be a big test for Sam Darnold. But give me the Seahawks at home, man.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks, and I just think the 49ers are too beat up. I mean, and the fact that they made it this far with as beat up as they are, and then losing Kittle in that game against Philly is nothing short of great. But I just think the Seahawks, their defense is so good. I mean, it takes you back to not quite the Legion of Boom, but they're close. They're really good, really talented, and then Sam Darnold has been playing really great. He's revitalized his career, um, and yeah, I like the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm with you. And throughout the course of these next two divisional round games, I bet you can guess what my pick's going to be for one and what Bryant's pick is going to be for one. Just throwing that out there. It's probably pretty obvious. But next one, we're going to go Rams at Bears. Obviously, I'm going to pick the Bears. I'm going to give you a few reasons why. They just had a huge comeback win against the Packers. They've had comeback wins all year long. Caleb Williams has proved time and time again that he is clutch in the fourth quarter. Another factor is, yeah, you can say Matthew Stafford played for the Lions 4 or 5 years ago, and back in 2021, he's played in the cold weather, even though he played in a dome. He hasn't played in cold weather like that in 4 or 5 years. And I'm telling you, when I went to school down south at South Alabama and Mobile, Alabama, when I came home for the winters, I'm telling you, my blood was thin and I was freezing when it was 40 degrees outside, which is not typical. Like now I'm back used to it because I've been back here for a while. But I'm telling you right now, the high in LA all week when they're practicing is high 70s. It's damn near in the 80s. When they come to Chicago on Sunday, there's a chance of snow. That's one thing. The other thing is with the wind chill, the high is going to be 8 degrees. Matthew Stafford in games in his career when the temperature is under 40 degrees, he's 1-11. I did my research. I don't think he's going to fare in the cold. Plus, he's got a sprained index finger on his throwing hand. Not that that's going to be anything crazy. I know that Puka and Devontae are going to cause problems for our secondary. Our secondary bails us out with the picks, which we didn't get against the Packers. I have a feeling we might come up lucky and get something big against the Rams. Not having Tremaine Edmonds is going to be big. CJ Gardner-Johnson will be back, which should be big. But I think the Bears win at home. I think the cold helps them, because LA's not used to this type of crap, man. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I think that the cold weather comes up big and helps the Bears win at home. You're going to see it. Bookmark it.
All right, so I'm going with the Rams because I just think, despite the cold weather, the Rams, Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay have been in this situation before. Uh, Big time playoff game implications are massive. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams a little bit new to this, and I get it. They beat the Packers, great comeback and everything. But I think when it comes to this type of game, I think experience matters too. Playoff experience matters. Um, you know, and but I don't know. And it may not matter all too much because of the environmental stuff with the cold weather and stuff. I think this game really is a toss up because I do think it could go either way. But I'm gonna go with the Rams just because Matthew Stafford he's the MVP favorite for a reason. The Rams have been in this spot before, so yeah, give me the Rams.
All right, into our next game, Bills versus Broncos. Give me the Bills. I'm not saying that because you picked the Rams. I'm saying that because if Josh Allen's hot, the Bills can beat any front that they face. I'm just saying that right now wholeheartedly. I think they're ready to go to Denver. I think they're ready to kick some Bronco ass. And
Okay.
I'm just going to say right now, I mean, Josh Allen's been here before. When has Bo been here?
Last year,
But
he's got more playoff experience than Caleb Williams does.
Okay, and how many playoff wins does he have?
He's about to have one.
All right, exactly. My point.
He's about to have a Super Bowl win.
Caleb Williams has more playoff wins than Bo Nix to this point. all I'm gonna say, all that aside, I think that like you said for the Rams, I'm kind of contradicting myself then at that point, but I think it comes down to experience between McDermott and Allen going into this game, and I think the Bills win, man. They're without Gabe Davis, but I don't care. I think they win.
All right, well, I'm gonna contradict myself here too, because Denver's elevation. There's a reason it's called Mile High, but no, this was the game a year ago that the Broncos started off hot in. First drive of the game, Bo Nix throws a huge touchdown to Troy Franklin. You think the Broncos actually have a chance here, and then the Bills at home in Buffalo rip their heart out and win in a blowout fashion. I think this is a different Broncos team this year, different circumstances for both teams. The Bills haven't been as dominant as they usually are. They needed Josh Allen heroism to beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. But without Gabe Davis, and the fact that just Josh Allen took a lot of hits, and they're getting one less day to prepare, and they got to fly to Denver. I think all those factors will be a factor, and I just think the Broncos defense, namely their secondary, can hold up against the Bills receivers because the Bills don't have that many weapons. And then I think the Broncos front, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, their front can get to Josh Allen, make him uncomfortable. And I like the Broncos offense. I like the way they can run. They'll be able to run the ball against the Bills. I think they'll be able to control the tempo of the game, keep the ball away from Josh Allen. We could be getting J.K. Dobbins back. He's been out for a while, so man, it may sound biased, but I'm going with the Broncos at home in Denver to advance to the AFC Championship game, and I'm excited because I think this could be a huge moment for Denver after what we've witnessed the last several years since Peyton retired.
I'm with you, but knock on wood, the Bears and Broncos could be playing each other in the bowl, baby. Who knows? Who knows? That'd be just wait till that podcast episode comes out. There won't be one that week.
What's funny, I mean, of course, my buddy Charles, I work with at on my station. He's a Bear. I mean, of course, we talked about it. He's a Bears fan too. We were one of my other coworkers asked us yesterday what would happen if the Bears played the Broncos in the Super Bowl. We said this station would not survive with the banter that would go on between me and him.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, because last year we all gathered together at the station because we work on Super Bowl Sunday anyway. So we gathered at the station and watched Super Bowl. So if we did that this year, I don't know if I'd stick around to watch it. I'd probably go home because I wouldn't want to.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's why I had some friends that invited me over to watch the Bears game this last week, and there were some Packers fans over there, and I was like, there's more Bears fans than Packers fans, but I was like, I don't want to be watching a Bears Packers game around Packers fans. I mean, that goes with any rivalry. It would be like if you were watching Alabama versus Auburn with the boatload of Auburn fans, or me watching Michigan versus Ohio State with a bunch of Michigan fans. I don't want that to happen.
I mean, watching the Iron Bowl with Auburn fans though is fun because and we've beat them 6 years in a row, and you just see they're defeated before the game even starts. So I mean, they're not as obnoxious.
I get that, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Or you could be in the stands for 4th and 31 and just watch their soul get taken from them.
Yeah,
like the hearts get ripped
when you're
out.
When you're at the game. It's a different story. That's fun.
Because I remember 4th and 31, and I look like I'm seated in front of just a whole bunch of Auburn fans around me, and I just look around and all the way. And you have you have a group of sorority girls teared up and crying. I'm sitting there cheesing and jumping up and down.
Straight depression for him, man.
Depression can't hit a moving target.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think that's all going to wrap up this week's episode. Obviously, next week we will have a lot more recap of the divisional round and the national championship game. And then we'll have even more to talk about going into the NFC title game weekend and AFC title game. But man, what a week of football. we're nearing a close, but it's at its prime right now, especially with both of our NFL teams still in the hunt. So it's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
And by this time next week, either they're both advanced, either one of them's been eliminated, or they're both eliminated, and we're both sitting here crying.
Yeah. Hey, only time will tell. Only time will tell. So we will see. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.